guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Crown Hyundai in St. Pete, Florida, and look what we have. We're getting it first for you here on Rady's Rides. This is the all-new, totally redesigned 2022 Hyundai Tucson Limited. But before we get into this compact SUV that's just been totally revamped, let's talk about what's going on here, the Tucson. It's been in Hyundai's lineup since 2005, if you could believe that. That first generation went from 2005 to 2009. Fast forward to model year 2022, and as you can see, a lot of sharp edge changes going on, not only to the outside, but wait until we get into the interior. Now, the Tucson is gonna take many different forms for 2022. This is a limited, but you will be able to get a plug-in electric hybrid version and also an N-line version for those who want a little bit more sport appearance. Now, when it comes to the compact SUV segment of the auto industry, totally fierce. You have the mighty Mazda CX-5, you have the Honda CR-V, the Toyota RAV4, just to name a few. Can Hyundai take the magic from the Palisade, that larger SUV, and spill it into this Tucson to make it a home run? Is this better than the RAV4? Is this better than the CR-V? Is it better than the CX-5? Or even the Kia Sportage, which remember, we are going to be getting a redesign of that very, very soon. So let's go ahead, let's dive in and see if we can find out with this 2022 Tucson. Right off the bat, you're going to notice a different chassis setup. You're going to notice a little bit longer wheelbase, a little bit wider of a Tucson, and overall a little bit longer of a Tucson. Now, when it starts at the front of the business, you're going to get a ton of new styling. So you're going to have your daytime running lamps, which, believe it or not, actually turned off. I'm going to turn them back on real quick, and we're going to keep this going all in one fell swoop so that you could actually see these actual daytime running lamps in full effect. So you have your LED daytime running lamps. Love the style, how it all just kind of blends nicely into the grille. Just like the bigger brother, the Santa Fe and the Palisade, you're going to get your actual LED projector beam style headlights in the lower pod here. Now, the good news is that you do have a functional side air curtain, nothing fake to speak of, and what it does is it creates such really sharp, aggressive styling for a compact SUV. There was once upon a time where compact SUVs were really boring. Like, you would be put to sleep. You need to drive around with a sleeping bag because sometimes you'd fall asleep actually just looking at your SUV. With these, they're getting very, very aggressive, and wait until you see the N-line. Now, as we drop down, you do have a little bit of this nice black chrome finish, some flat black. We do have some fake zonk area of a vent here, so we are going to have to zonk the fake vents going on. You do have a simulated skid plate, which is something that it seems a lot of SUVs have, just to give it that SUV rugged look, but definitely futuristic. The black chrome on the limited trim really just makes this thing stand out from the rest of the crowd. I love all the sharp design, even the way they brought the Hyundai badge into that same black chrome finish. You have a forward-facing camera. You do have functionality down in the center, and just the way this portion extends off of the front fascia really, really looks slick. And the daytime running lamps, I mean, this thing is gonna be killer to see at dusk before all the lights turn on to see that coming down the road. Now, when you get up onto the hood, I love the way it's all one piece. You don't have any front fascia that extends up. So you have a nice low slung hood, very, very slick, meeting with that grille. We don't get a bulge, but what you do get is an indentation in the center, gives it some character, gives it some style. Love the way the A-pillar line, it just picks up here, flows right into that A-pillar. And as we come around the bend, what are we working with on a limited trim Tucson? You're looking at this beautiful 19-inch wheel. Machined aluminum. I love these nice intricate detail to design, and the great news is as this wheel is spinning down the road, it's going to help with aerodynamic airflow as well. But you got a nice fully ventilated rotor back there on the tires, 235 on the width, a meaty 55 series sidewall. There is some flat black. I'm thinking that on the limited trim, it would have been nice to have this all body color painted, but what they did was, look at how they brought some design. Instead of just keeping it smooth like all the other brands, brought some nice design to kind of really give it that extra style. And then look at that body line in the fender. I mean, it kind of flows with that overall flat black as it drops down. Now, one of the crazy parts of the design of this vehicle is right here. Look at how it flows from the top of the fender down into the door and then kind of intersects and makes a triangle for that lower portion. It actually extends out. I'm gonna have Lori kind of swing around and show how it flares out from that door panel area there to really give it an aggressive, futuristic look. It kind of falls in line a little bit with the Elantra, which remember is that sedan, that compact sedan. So this being a compact SUV, kind of have that connection with the style. You are gonna get color matched on the mirror caps, some shiny chrome, nothing too crazy on the mirrors. And I like the way it's almost like a brushed aluminum. It kind of extends off. There's your turn signal. We're gonna get 360-degree cameras, the LED turn signals, that nice, bright, shiny metalwork top and bottom, pretty much on the top, and then flat black on the bottom. You can see that intersection of the triangular design. And really, I'm digging the way they went flat black and kind of extended it off on the lower sill. Now, as we come towards the rear of the vehicle, because you have that shiny, bright metalwork up top, it flares out nicely into the rear pillar, gives it that sort of floating roof design. The actual roof rails are nice and flush mount, and they're a nice, shiny gloss black. The way they did the quarter window, it just melts perfectly into this rear area. And then as we come around the rear of the vehicle, interesting how they took almost the style of the Mach-E, the Ford Mach-E electric vehicle on these taillights. I see a little bit of a resemblance there. I do like the style though. Very, very futuristic, very different as the LED lighting goes all the way across. Interesting how they decided to take the badge and put it in the area with the rear glass, but the great news is no rear wiper. Everything is tucked in under this nice low roof spoiler. You got a gloss black shark fin antenna. And as we drop down to wrap it off, really intricate on the design. Instead of putting fake vent, look what they did. They took some of that nice triangular action with the design and just brought it in there. Instead of putting a fake vent, you have this dark gunmetal gray rear lower bumper area that's super clean. Just a little bit of chrome finish, but other than that, nicely done on the badge, looking great. Let's pop the hood and see what's powering our 2022 Tucson. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. There are a couple zonks here. First of all, we're gonna have to zonk the prop rod. On a limited trim, there should be hydraulic hood struts, but I do like the way they moved it all the way over to the side. Please excuse the pollen, especially here in Florida. Very, very high pollen time of year. But what you're looking at underneath that hood is actually a single internal combustion engine choice across the trims, unless you're going with that plug-in electric hybrid and hybrid setup. Now, what you're looking at is a 2.5 liter inline four that's naturally aspirated. I do like the engine cover. 187 horsepower, so you're actually getting 26 more horsepower than last year. 182 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, so that's great news. You could tow up to 2,000 pounds. MPGs, 25 in the city, 33 on the highway. Now, my other zonk for underneath the hood is I wish that the limited trim, at least, would have a turbocharged power plant to at least get a little bit more than 200 horsepower. I think that would really fit the character styling of this vehicle. But why don't we go ahead, we talked about the outside, saw the big changes. We have more horsepower underneath the hood, which is never a bad thing. But why don't we get to that interior and see what the limited trim brings to the Tucson. All right, guys, we're inside the 2022 Tucson limited trim. Come on in. You got to see what's different. But before we do, I know you're saying to yourself, Joe, it must be serendipity. I must have really found some luck when I found that shiny copper penny on the floor in my office parking garage. I'm looking for a compact SUV, and I totally forgot about Tucson. It was boring. I didn't like the last generation. This one, I'm kind of digging, and I can't wait to see what's on the inside. But how much is it? I know that's what you're saying to me right now. MSRP, the way that this is option limited trim, you're looking at around $36,000. Let's see what you get for the money to the door panel. So I love the style we have going on. They really up the ante, especially at Hyundai. So you're gonna get soft touch material. It is all dark material, but you know what? It looks very modern, very clean. A little bit of silver trim surrounding that splattering of gloss black. The one thing I'm scratching my head that I'm gonna have to drop a major zonk on is that cloth material in the center portion of the door. That should be some type of faux leather in a limited trim. But you are getting faux leather on the armrest, and it is soft to the touch, which is nice. A little bit more gloss black than what I like to see around the switchgear, but it does kind of bring the style of the materials to a new level for Hyundai and the Tucson. I like the stitch work. Door pocket is small, so maybe a bottle of milk and 2 chocolate chip, maybe sugar cookies from the grocery store. You know, those big large ones you could slide into that door pocket. We do have the optional Bose sound system. Would have been nice if they did something kind of modern with the speaker cover to kind of match the exterior of the vehicle. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, this is all modern. I love the way everything has a nice flow. It kind of curves all the way to meet the door panel when the door is shut. You have your AC vents integrated nicely. Another zonk. What is this? It's like a nail filing board or something. The cloth is just not working in here. It's too modern. This is a limited trim, so we're zonking that, but soft touch material here. I like the way this extends out because guess what? Everything is housed nice and clean in this center stack. You got your AC vents, and then you have that 10.25 inch screen. Standard is an 8 inch. We get the 10.25, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. The zonk is it's not wireless though, so that is a little bit of a bummer. Is it a touch screen? Of course. There's your navigation looking really crisp. You could go back to home. Real easy to figure out. You got your nice swipe features, which is wonderful, and even little touches like valet mode. We got quiet mode. All of the different things that you're expecting in the 21st century, except for, like I said, wireless. There's no wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. You can get into your full AC controls. The only zonk, no physical knobs or buttons. Everything is on the screen, or you could see your volume controls. Everything is touch, including the AC controls, which you do get dual climate, which is very nice. I think the big saving grace is that it's all integrated. Instead of it being an iPad style screen, which a lot of people are kind of getting over, I like the way they did some smart design and integrated nicely. You have a bright silver start stop button. Let me throw the car into reverse, see what kind of cameras we're working with here. So you can see your camera technology there. You do have your trajectory, which is great. Your 360 camera, obviously it's a little blurry on the passenger side, is because we have the door open so that we could film. And then you could go to different angles, which is kind of nice. So I do really dig that overall setup, especially from the top, straight back as you're backing into a parking spot. You hit park, and we're right back again. So nice, simple setup. You do have a good sized cubby here, USB, a 12 volt, and another USB, and a wireless charging pad, but they also give you some room for a couple Snickers bars. You could easily put 2 to 4 Snickers, depending on how high you want to make it. And then on the side, we have an official Costco churro tray. So you could get a couple churros from Costco, slide them in there for later on your trip. Maybe you're coming home from work, maybe you're picking the kids up from school. We have ventilated seats and heated seats. So thank you, Hyundai, for bringing that to the table. And of course, heated steering wheel. This is going to control the 8-speed automatic. You got your different drive modes, and this particular Tucson is front wheel drive. 2 cup holders, a bit of gloss black. So if you don't like fingerprints, you're probably going to get annoyed by me doing this, but that's what's going to happen on your journeys. But I do like how slick this is and how it kind of curves down to meet the buttons at the front. Semi-soft faux leather with the stitch work. Bombs away, sort of bombs away. Lift it up. The great news is literally drop a box of Twinkies in there. Full, unopened, keep them fresh. And basically you could keep them fresh for about 35 years. That's been the official limit to the freshness of Twinkies. These seats though are very fresh. I like the brushed aluminum look, nice stitching, even the piping. It's funny, I was talking to Lori about this the other morning. Having a little bit of piping on the seats just really brings up the overall feel. You got electric assist for the passenger and the driver, but we're not done yet. Limited trim, we have panoramic sunroof, and it goes all the way back. Nice style, opens right up. I don't want to open it anymore because it's kind of hot right now in sunny Florida, but very easy to use, and I think super smart to have the lighter headliner color. Kind of brightens everything up. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel of the Tucson Limited. What up, what up, what up? Come on in to the business end. Let me show you what we got going on here. Look at the smart styling. There is some smart design, the way they integrated your memory seats, 1 and 2. You can let somebody borrow your Tucson, a special friend. You do have great seat control, especially that lower lumbar. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, that feels good. And then I'm 6 feet tall, so if you're taller than 6 feet, here's the amount of space that you have. So because of the panoramic sunroof, it is a little bit lower, but still plenty of room to kind of navigate through. Speaking of navigating, how you're gonna navigate this SUV of a ship is this steering wheel. I'm starting to dig Hyundai steering wheels, especially this one. I like the style with the flat black, the silver, nice leather, thick rimmed, a little bit of gloss black, a little bit of silver, paddles. Nice large paddles to go up and down that 8-speed automatic transmission, tilting and telescoping, and then the dash. You get two 10.25-inch screens in the limited trim. So you can see we're in sport mode. Watch this. Bam. Go smart. Your IQ just went up. Normal, kind of boring. Who wants to be normal? But let's go. We're going to stay in sport. Love the graphics. Obviously, that's going to change the behavior of the engine with the transmission and throttle sensitivity, steering, and all the other good functions. You could go through that center display very easily. And then watch this. Here's what you love. Boom. We got the corner cameras to block out those blind spots. Nice, slick, great technology. I think the one thing it's missing is a head-up display. That might be something that you really, really want, but it's not on this limited trim. But other than that, I'm really digging what they got. Let's talk about it for a second though, because I was so enamored with those turn signal cameras. It's kind of interesting because it does look like an iPad that somebody kind of dropped down. I'm gonna have Lori kind of angle it in. It does look like an iPad kind of just dropped in that area. So I'm gonna leave the zonk up to you. I wanna give you the power to the people here on Rady's Rides. Let me know in the comments section, do you like the screen the way it is? It's sort of integrated, but it's sort of not. Or are you gonna drop a big old Z word? Not zebra, zonk. Put it in the comment section, let me know. Let's get to the mid-row and see what kind of space we have in the new Tucson. All right, guys, backseat time, obviously very important because we have 4 doors. You're probably gonna be driving people around, maybe people you actually care about. The great news is you're gonna spoil them. There's some major room back here on this new chassis, a little bit longer, a little bit wider. We're getting tons of space back here. Remember, once again, I'm 6 feet tall. I didn't shrink since the last segment that we did behind the business end. Plenty of headroom. Backs of the seats, the good news for the parents, you got the plastic so your kids can kick the seat and it's not gonna scuff up the nice faux leather. The bad news in the zonk are these cargo nets. You put a knife in here or a throwing star, it's gonna rip right through this. So just something to think about with the cargo nets on the back. We do have the rear AC, but no physical controls. But it's still good that we got the AC, and I like the way they shape the vents. 2 USBs. I have my own cargo net, and then space. Like I said, plenty of leg room, plenty of headroom. Seats are comfy. I like the way they're kind of tilted, and you could adjust. The seats do recline. I mean, look at this. They do recline, which is wonderful. And then, do we have an armrest? Let me get this perfect. There we go. For the people that have OCD, I made it perfect, just for you. Flip that down. It's not the softest, but it's a nice place to put your arm. 2 cup holders. Let's get to that cargo area. See what we can fit back there. I thought somebody was back there, laying back there. It was kind of weird. We're gonna check out what's in the cargo area in the new Tucson. All right, guys, time to get in the cargo area. Before we do, I just want to point out once again, really like the style that they brought to that rear fender area, sort of just like the front and the way they put the reflector in there. One area I am gonna zonk is where they located the turn signals. I don't really think that from a safety standpoint and a visibility standpoint that it really works well down there. Would have been nice to have it integrated, but here's the thing that I absolutely love about the tail end of the business here. You push the button, you have a nice electric assist. Before we just dive in, look at how low the rear bumper area is. Compare this to the competition. I really believe that this is probably one of the lowest loading floors in the compact SUV segment. And then just help yourself to room because you have a ton of space. Remember, this Tucson is a little longer, it's a little wider. Look at all that room that we have back there. So what you're looking at is basically 38.7 cubic feet of space. You fold those seats down, 73.8 cubic feet of space. Now, let's pick up the cargo floor, see what we have. There is your spare, nicely located. It's nice to have a spare, good to see. And then, of course, you're gonna have a 12 volt, which is perfect for when you're tailgating, you're going to the beach, and say your kids want that big, huge raft inflated. Don't use your own lungs. Get yourself an electric air compressor and blow it up for them. Now you do have handles to actually fold the seats down, but what I have found is because there's still some plastic and whatnot from shipping, the seats don't fold really nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and just open up the door to kind of facilitate that. So either do it here or in the back portion here, they do lock down. I'm gonna run around to the other side and I'll show you how the handle works. I think this one goes a little smoother. There you go. And then what you're gonna do is you just push down, it locks down so it's not popping up and hopping all over the place. But you can see the nice width that we have and the depth, 73, almost 74 cubic feet of space, and it's totally flat. So you could go to Costco, get those big old barrels of sour cream, mayonnaise, Cool Whip, and just roll those 50-gallon drums in there. But why don't we go ahead? I'm gonna push this magic button. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take this new Tucson for a spin and see how it drives. All right, guys, we're leaving Crown Hyundai in St. Pete, and we are behind the wheel of the new Tucson, this limited trim. Right away, I love the setup in here. How they have that infotainment system integrated so nicely, visibility out the front. The A-pillars are pulled way far apart, and I'm very curious to think what you are gonna say about this gauge cluster. The great news is it's easy to see, read, and understand. I do have it in sport mode because of the red trim, and then like I was showing you earlier, you do have those great turn signal cameras that work super well. I forgot to show you earlier, here's your your Hyundai, not a Kia, Hyundai key fob. You do have that park assist, which is great, where you can move the vehicle in and out of its parking spot. There's the back. Obviously, you take this sticker off when you are purchasing your Tucson, but super smooth. The 8-speed automatic does its job very nicely. And visibility out the back, the side mirrors, everything really nice to keep you safe. I could see that dip in the hood, gives me some nice style. It's nice to also see a little bit of the hood so that you're not feeling like you're just riding in some kind of weird pod or something like that. But love the thickness of the steering wheel. And I'm telling you, they definitely, you could tell with the new chassis, it is quieter in here, which is great. Got those awesome turn signal cameras. Brakes feel good. And then of course you're gonna get the full suite of safety features to make sure that you and your family or your passengers arrive alive every single time, which is very important, obviously. But we do have that button to shut off that pesky auto start stop feature. And we are gonna take this Tucson onto the highway and see how it goes, because that is where a lot of people spend their time behind the wheel. And I'm really curious about how the vehicle drives, especially going over expansion joints and all the other things. I'm gonna go ahead as well, and we are gonna play with the different modes, let you see what the dash looks like while you're driving, and also check that acceleration. But I'm gonna actually slow down here to a stop, and then we're gonna do some on throttle. So naturally aspirated, on throttle, here we go. So smooth shifts from that 8-speed automatic. The bad news is like I mentioned earlier, it really does need a turbocharged engine in this limited trim. It would really be nice to have that turbocharged power to just give you a little bit more pep. But I think for your regular average commuting, obviously you're gonna be fine with the naturally aspirated 2.5 liter engine. But coming down the highway, super smooth, soaks up those expansion joints very easily. Let me go ahead and put it in a different mode. There's normal. And I'm gonna go ahead and pretend like I'm about to pass somebody. So on throttle, here we go. So you're definitely getting more power than the previous generation. But like I said, when you compare this to the competition, say the CX-5 Turbo, you're looking at 250 horsepower. So just something to take into consideration. Let me go ahead and put it back into sport mode. immediately you could tell how the engine and the transmission and whatnot, how they're behaving with one another a little differently. I do like the way they have a Tucson image for your vehicle there, and it does actually show when you hit the brakes light up, which is kind of cute, little technology pieces like that. I'm gonna go ahead and get off the highway, and we'll continue a little bit more driving. Paddles, good size. It's funny how some of these SUVs and whatnot that should not have really large paddles, they do, and they're so much better than some sports cars that we've driven here on Rady's Rides. But I love the layout of everything, and the visibility and just the comfort of the seats is really nice as well. I'm gonna go ahead and put those ventilated seats on. Nice to have that option. Controls, easy to get to. Having the electric seats makes it very easy to get it to form fit to your body. Even over these bumps, look at this, nice and smooth. On throttle, here we go. Yeah, that's the one department where I could see some changes needed, is to have a little bit more horsepower. I'm not asking for 500 horsepower, but it would be nice. I'm saying 300 horsepower I think would be wonderful in this thing. But I'll even go with the competition, say the CX-5 250, 275 would be a nice option. But hopefully this gave you an overall great feel of what the Tucson Limited is all about. We're gonna get back to Crown Hyundai and wrap this one up, so I will see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been another great day here at Crown Hyundai. I definitely got to thank Steven and the rest of the crew getting us their very first 2022 totally redesigned Tucson, especially a limited trim. It really goes to show that Hyundai is doing the business, bringing the business, and they really are the business when it comes to change and how people look at their brand and the vehicles that they offer. Is this a competitor for the RAV4, the CR-V, the CX-5, and the rest of the competition in that compact SUV segment? You better bet your bottom dollar, and you definitely want to check out one of these new ones, because the styling, you really have to see it in person to really get the full effect of it. But if you want to keep seeing these new SUVs that are redesigned and we bring it to you here first on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you in the channel, two ways to do it. Click the first link, become a Rady's Rides Patreon member. Click the second link, get yourself some Rady's Rides merch. Got to give it up, queen of the camera. She is solid as a rock out here, getting all the angles of this new Tucson. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. Show her some love in the comment section. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.